up, everyone? Chilling like a villain. God, that word's overused, or that phrase is overused, you know? Just trying to think what to do in the future, you know, I guess, on my, whatever, if you want to call it a channel. You're free to smoke a little weed here on my tinfoil pipe, because my other pipe is, well, you know, I could get that out. I left it in under somebody's seat, and I had to call him back to my house, so now I got it back. So my pipe that I normally use, I just am a real simple person. Just a fucking piece of fucking metal, you know. I like it. No, I'm a simple person when it comes to smoking weed. All I want is to smoke the weed. I don't need a bong. I don't need any of that bullshit. To me, that's just bullshit anyway. And to be quite honest, the more you smoke out of the bong, the more likely you'll die of fucking pneumonia. And that's a fact. Just because you're constantly inhaling more vapor than a vape pen probably when you're doing a bong. I don't know. It's just an opinion, you know. It's just an opinion. But yeah, so this is a new theory I come up with, God. Maybe, you know, people, you can agree or disagree with me. And it really doesn't matter if you say anything or don't, because you probably aren't even on the same wavelength as me. But a lot of people, you know, have read Zecharia Sitchin. And, you know, I haven't. And people always ask me, well, why haven't you? Because they're stuck on them. Like you're proud of your own science fiction writer. They're proud of their own whatever, somebody with their own historical viewpoint. Okay? And so I decided to do this video on the go right now while I'm about to take a hit of some weed. Just because I want to explain something. You know, first of all, Zecharia Sitchin may have been a historian. He may have been a good translator. I'm not sure if he even was a historian, but he was definitely a translator. And, you know, that can get all mucked up. It's already just the whole, you know, the whole fucking thing where you're trying to, you know, make assertions about stuff using your translation skills. That's not any close to guarantee. You'd have to have multiple translators and linguists and stuff gathered together with you for you to do a good job. I don't think he was that smart. Anyway, he was smart, but he wasn't that smart. So I think Zecharia Sitchin, when he tried to claim that these inner solar people every 3,400 years were coming around on this planet, you know, and they were, you know, taking gold every time, that's about the fucking most hilarious thing I ever heard. Straight up. Number one, most of the material gold is not on Earth. Okay? Most of the material gold is not on Earth. So why would they come out of their way to come here to get gold? No, they wouldn't, because there's a small amount in comparison to the rest of the fucking, you know, clusters of meteors and so forth. So, you know, there's no way you're going to tell me. I mean, you know, the first game I played when I was small, well, I was actually huge. I was just a youngster, though, but was Starflight. Now, the Starflight series, you know, was real kind of really bad graphics and all that, but there's some interesting points to it. You know, first of all, when you're traveling through space, there's no way you're going to rely on some fucking green planet that's out of your way. Even if you got resource to get there, it's not going to have the amount of gold you probably need anyway. So it's probably easier for, number one, to mine gold from asteroids, because when an asteroid, you don't have to land on a planet, number one. Number two, you know, that's what Starflight was all about. You know, you travel through the galaxy, but you got to mine these places or you're not going to make any money. So that's what I think real, you know, anyone that's dealing with this physical plane and this reality, which is, you know, our solar system and our supposed, you know, what we would refer to as universe. The truth of the matter is they would still have to get resource somehow. But they wouldn't have to come to Earth for it. Okay, we're not that goddamn special. All right. Now, also, another thing is, you know, I believe that if there is something going on every 3,400 years around, it's probably not even a fucking planet. It's probably artificial. It's probably other, you know, it's probably a what you would call a mega starbase. You know, super huge, And it only comes around every now and then so they can take a close look at it like a guard would in a fucking prison. All right? And so tourists on board their space station can see the Earth and stuff like that firsthand, I guess. But in reality, they don't need all that. But the truth is, they have that orbit for a reason because, they created us, probably. So this is my new theory that maybe it's possible that I don't even want to use the names that Zecharia Sitchin made in reference to these other human beings or extraterrestrials or whatnot. I will say this though, they were supposed to be had to do with sumarian and all this shit. Anyway, I look at it like this: they were probably the ones that sent Jesus down here probably reanimated him into a birth, reanimated him probably from another of the same thing. And as it got older, it started to recognize and clue in it had this special skills and blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? It's not that. He figured it out. He's like, no, it's not special skills. I have some communication with somebody and they're not from here. And that's what I think it is. Just like we have a cell phone, he had shit implanted or whatever so he could receive and develop his miracles as he went. But even that at some point failed because when he was supposedly died on the cross, the last, one of the things he said was, Father, how can you forsake me? Well, what does that mean? Maybe that even though he was doing a job down here, somebody fucking, basically let him be the fall guy. And knowing full well that he'd get reanimated aboard the ship or the space station. But, as an inside joke, who knows? Maybe he wasn't crying at Mitch. Maybe he understood the sarcasm of the situation. But no, I think it was. It was like his co-workers, like on a construction site. That's the kind of joking they would do too. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, if they were communicating to him without anyone knowing it, into his head, like a cell phone, but into his head, they'd say, hey, look, man, we got to make this look real, and you signed up for it, you got to die at the end, right? And he's like, yeah, but not like this. And they say, yeah, well, you know what, man, we can't control every little aspect of everything going on down there. And he said, we'll reanimate you as soon as you die. And Jesus was probably like, protesting it in his mind, or through his mind back to them. And he's probably like, no, I don't want to do all that. I didn't sign up for this. And he said, yeah, well, But to me, it was maybe like a construction joke type of sarcasm. Like, yeah, man, you got to fucking put up if you want to get up or whatever. I forget the terminology, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm doing this, guys, because I don't want fucking little pieces of spit coming out because I'm trying to be a little louder. I don't want you to see them if they come out. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so no, I think it is, this whole thing with the Jesus and everything had to do with the terraforming of this planet. It had to do with all that. And of course, they probably have their campaign of secrecy to a degree and probably say stuff like, well, we're only allowed to, feed them so much information at a time, so we're not allowed to get too close to them, but, we can exchange and do things, and so that's why we're doing the little... So when they sent Jesus down here, they sent him like a tech after they did most of the stuff they were really looking forward to doing, which was to have overpopulation stocks here of humans. And when I say overpopulation, I only mean by genetics. They need to save this genetic seed to certain humans, so they have an overfull population on terraformed planets. And that's what I think they do. They make the planets, then they have overflow populations of genetics, and then turn them into humans, have them work on board, and get them scientifically glorified to the certain surroundings. And then, at some point, certain ones sign up to go down on planet. That way they don't have to be as controlled and manipulated because the human species is more of a robot, a servo robot to them. So it's the last thing you want to do is actually be that close to them anyway, because then they would control a lot of the things you do. So maybe just because they can. So you don't want somebody else controlling you like a robot. However, there's already, I believe, when they made humans, a blank slate human to begin with, because when they mixed the caveman with, or not the caveman, but the primates with the humans, they had a gap of intellectual, what do you call it, knowledge development through time that could not equate to instinctual development. And as a result, the humans were almost like blank slates, not really capable of developing personalities like they would like. So what they did was set up AI in all of us. Every embryo that is born has all these different personalities melded into it right away. And as a result, when the human grows to an adult, the whole time he thinks he's independent of all that. But no, the entire time you were from birth to now is you've been manipulated also like a robot by personalities, but not really manipulated, because without them, you would not be able to even talk. Because even though they're scientifically qualified to turn monkeys into humans, they're not necessarily qualified to fill in all the blanks. So to fix it, they had to put those multiple personalities as like exchange students into our bodies. And what it does is they think it's fine. They think it's just like, oh yeah, we're benevolent. We're just here to explore and understand the personalities, and their linear time base is different than ours. And they can change it and manipulate it. And they can also do the same here. They can also manipulate visual. You can, look outside, think it's a clear day. There might be 10 vehicles sitting up there parked in this air, but you wouldn't know it because, they can manipulate all kinds of things. And in a way, like a matrix. So they may have limitations depending on who's in control of what. So what I think happens is every 3,400 years, this thing comes around. If it exists, I'm only speculating, it is artificial. And if it is a body, it has mostly artificial stuff in it or on it. So if it's a terrestrial body in space, it has also synthetic shit on it, mostly on it. So, but it's not intersolar. It's a space station, but it's nothing like Star Trek where they just show this big bulbous butt plug looking thing. No, this thing is fucking huge. Like so huge, inside they could have the Garden of Eden in there, and you would never know that it's inside a structure. So that is also speculation or independent thinking type impulse I have to say that the Garden of Eden was a product inside that particular space station, which is gargantuan. Probably 20 times the size of Earth. And, it would be easy, to do that. So when they say in the beginning in the Bible, this, that, and the other, they're talking about on their spacecraft before they terraformed the finished product, which is the human species here. Octavidal out.